Hey, this is Carrie Peters from Holistic MBA, and I'm so excited because every Tuesday, Stacy and I are going to start sharing some fireside chats with you, of course, in Chicago, so you know it's hot. This is my living room, and Stacy and I are going to be coming to you from our homes, sharing incredible content with you to help you master the art, the science, and the business of coaching and making a living from coaching. So this is something that's going to come to you every Tuesday, a little video from us, and I'm going to start today by talking about how to lead group programs. Now, I know a lot of you want to have group programs for a number of reasons. Maybe you want to have leverage, so you're working with more people in less time. Maybe you're making more money. You think it'll be really fun. All of those things are true. Now, let me tell you, when I started out in 2009, I started out by sort of building my business online. And I had built my email list up to, I don't know, I think it was about 1,200 people at that time. And I had a business called Coach Tools to Go. And it was a resource center for coaches, helping them have the business resources that they needed to build a business. Sort of similar to what we're doing here in Holistic MBA, but not nearly as exciting. So I did my first, I offered my first group program, and I was completely terrified. I did a launch online, and I had never, ever run a group program before. Never, ever. And I not only was offering a group program, it was a 9-month business training where I was going to be teaching all new material that I had just learned and I had just gotten certified in. Wasn't sure if I could use the techniques that I had learned. I was like completely freaked out. The price point was something like $8.97. It was not anywhere near what the training was worth, but it was all I could handle offering. And 40 people ended up enrolling. And I promptly freaked out, crap my pants, because I was like, oh my God, I have A, never run a group before, B, don't know these techniques, C, this is all happening online and I'm not really good at technology. Thank God I had a technical assistant. So it was a super high pressure, high stakes situation for me because I wanted these people who were enrolling with me to have a great experience. And I was like, not sure I could pull it off. But the one thing I did know was a 5-part session structure to use when I was doing each session with the group. I knew that this 5-part session structure that I could sort of hang my hat on in each training call that I did with them, that would be the thing that would carry me through. And it did. And it turned out that people got amazing value. They got amazing results. It went so beautiful, way better than I ever could have hoped. And so I'm going to share this 5-part session structure with you because you can use it in every group coaching session. And groups are different than individual. They're really fun. And you don't have to worry that you're not going to be able to give people the same kind of attention that you would give them in a one-on-one situation, because actually there's something about the energy of the group that starts creating more breakthroughs with everybody because of the energy of the group than you could actually do by yourself. So groups are really wonderful and really fun, and people end up getting exactly what they need all the time. So I want to share this 5-part session structure with you so that when you run your next group program, and it doesn't have to be 40 people in some online launch. Stacy's first group was at a yoga training studio. No, I think it was actually, yeah, they had a yoga training there, but it wasn't yoga training people. It was just regular yoga students. And her first group was 3 people. And she used this session structure, and 2 of those 3 people became her clients, and then she kept running the group, and the group just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until she was at 30 people, 40 people. So it doesn't matter if you're working with 3 people or if you're working with 40 people, this 5-part session structure really works. So let me give it to you straight here. 5-part session structure. Okay, first part is new and good and challenges. And this is going to be a 1-minute check-in that you'll do with your group. It lasts about 10 to 20 minutes. And by the way, you might want to grab a piece of paper to write this down so that you can have it when you're running your first group session or your next group session. Again, it's new and good and challenges. It's a 1-minute check-in, 10 to 20 minutes. And you're going to ask each client in your group what worked well from the previous session, what didn't work well, and what's your intention or your outcome for today's session. And the purpose of this is the 1 minute time frame, you're going to ask them to respond in 1 minute. It trains your client to get focused on what's most important to share instead of rambling on with a lot of story, because that's a potential pitfall when working with groups. It helps your clients remember to acknowledge what's going well. It helps uncover where your client might be stuck or struggling or confused from the previous session. And it trains your clients to set intentions and outcomes for themselves in every session that they have with you in the group. So it's really important. The second part of your session with the group will be new information, and you'll do about 15 to 20 minutes of this. And the purpose of that is that you want to teach people new stuff so that they're learning and they're excited and they're engaged. But you don't want to teach them too much. You want, especially with a group, you really have to dial it back in terms of the content. You want to give people just enough little pieces. One of my favorite teachers, Mark David, calls them scientific brain cookies. You want to give them enough little cookies to eat so that they feel like they're learning something, but that they're not like overwhelmed. And you don't want your whole group blanking out at once. That's not a great place to be. So you want to give new information, but just a little bit. Again, that's only 15 to 20 minutes. Then here's what's really killed with group. The third part of your session is you want to have some kind of experiential exercise that's related to the content that you just taught. That's going to be another 15 to 20 minutes. Now, what's the purpose of doing that? Why do you do that? Well, one, you want to transform any session that you have from just giving information to creating an experience. So people learn in different ways. They may learn something, like you just taught them something, they learn it in their head, but then the experiential exercise gives them the opportunity from the knowledge to drop down out of their head and into their body, so they can embody the learning. And that's when the learning really starts to stick and people are able to process the information that they're giving you, that you've given them, and if they can process it, then that means that they can act on it, and that's what you want. So the experiential exercise is going to help your client embody what you just taught, and it's going to help your client start to have a different experience of life. So for example, just a quick example, if you're a health coach, maybe with your group you want to talk about slowing down and chewing. And you teach them why slowing down and chewing and turning off the stress response is going to change their digestion and help them lose weight and all kinds of stuff. Then maybe in your group, for the experiential exercise, is that you have a chewing contest with the whole group. And everybody, the slowest chewer wins. And then you talk about the experience. And that helps people really understand. So when they go home and they're eating their next meal, they're physically remembering, ooh, what was that chewing exercise that we did in that contest? It's really very helpful. The key to doing exercises in groups is making sure that you really fully explain what's about to happen. With groups, the best thing is pre-framing. Pre-framing, meaning setting people's expectations so they know what's going to happen in the exercise. That's so important. And if you are like demonstrating an exercise with one person in the group, maybe before the whole group does the exercise, then you want to pre-frame, notice as I walk so-and-so through this exercise, what occurs for her, what occurs for you. Sometimes your biggest breakthroughs come when you're watching someone else be coached. Now, if you've ever been on a coaching call with Stacy and I in a group or in a live experience, you'll see us do this all the time. We're always referencing the rest of the group, even if we're working with one person, so that the rest of the group knows what's in this experience for me right now. And in fact, if you want to experience us or listen to us coach a group, we're actually going to be giving away some free coaching. It's actually the 4th anniversary of Holistic MBA. We started back in 2010. And so we are doing a 4th anniversary celebration by doing some free coaching. Coaching is what Stacy and I do best, so we want to give that to you for free, and you can get access to that by going to holisticmba.com/free coaching. holisticmba.com/free coaching, and you can hear how we coach everybody, usually in those free coaching calls, and we can have hundreds of people on the line, so you can hear how we set up the call so that everyone in the group gets value. All right, so let's move on. The 4th part of your session with a group once you've gone through the experiential exercise, is going to be to give your group action steps. And this maybe just takes a minute. And the purpose of this is to suggest really clear, simple action steps, really clear, really simple, so that your clients are in action instead of overwhelmed. And then the final part of your group session is really important, and it's called ahas, appreciations, and insights about this session. And it might just take 1 to 2 minutes, depending on the number of people you have in the group. But you want to hear from everyone in the group. What was their aha? What did they appreciate? Or what was their insight about the session? And this does a couple of things. One, it installs the value of what was discovered for the client in the session, really installs that this was a really valuable, awesome experience. And secondly, it gives you feedback on what's really landing for your clients. If there are certain exercises that you're doing that are not landing, you'll find out from that feedback. If there are certain things that are landing or ways that you phrased a certain teaching point, your client reflects that back to you and you go, ooh, that really landed. Note to self, I'm going to keep that one. And that's how you start really developing your vocabulary and your style as a coach. So I hope this 5-part session structure for leading group programs was helpful for you. And we'll see you next week with more great tips. And hopefully we'll see you on the free coaching call to give to you to celebrate Holistic MBA's 4th anniversary. And you can access that free coaching at holisticmba.com/free coaching. And from my living room, I am out. I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.